All right. So, you check my audio, make sure I'm okay. You guys can hear me good. To the chat, Shadzar, thank you for the tip for the OSR tag. Hi, Green Apple. Shadzar, Premiering, I'm going to stream it, sir. Only had 2 beers. Hi, Green Apple. Howdy, Shadow and Sun. Travis, how you doing? Let me get the fro on. Hold on. Okay. All right. I got my fro. Are you not entertained? I'll be getting that first chin back here pretty quick. I was on time. Okay. So earlier tonight, Joe and Randy had a stream talking about the OSR. Not exactly a bad stream, actually. Biggus Geekus is a quality group of people. They really are. They, for what they're talking about, I can accept their content as entertainment, even historical. I'm going to make this video in response to why do we keep talking about the OSR and versus TSR editions. And Shadzar was even arguing with people in the chat of the video. And he's talking, you can go online to Wizards and you can order a book from TSR's actual days. And you can do this wonderful thing of buying a print-on-demand piece of history. And you can do that. In fact, Gary would probably be pretty happy. Especially if it was first edition AD&D. Or first edition, second edition TSR, as I call it. First edition is basic. But anyway, it's all TSR D&D. And you guys are going to probably be upset because I just said that. But I like the TSR versions of D&D for the nostalgia. I like the first edition that WotC did a lot. But it was during a time where third edition had come out, and all of a sudden, there was this thing, Legion of Myth. Hey, Shadow and Sun. You can avoid paying WotC and drive-through and get the books off of eBay or buy OSR and support people who don't hate you. I was going to come to that conclusion later, but I'll just say that we'll get to that. I prefer basic rules cyclopedia over first and second edition. There's nothing wrong with any of those editions. Either any of them are good for you to use and to abuse. And once you crack the book open at your table and you've got players there and you start making house rules, the game's yours. It's designed that way. Gary gave you his blessing in the first edition D&D and first edition AD&D. And I believe Holmes talked about it in the box set. Okay. Travis talking about piracy. I don't believe in theft. We get it. But you want to play a game. And I think you, first off, should just agree with your table on a rule set. And I don't care what rule set you use. You could even play Thirsty Sword Lesbians because that won't affect me here in my Tower of Solitude. Or my married apartment of 2. Anyway, once you guys figure out what game you want to play, this is going to be the easy part. Because after that, you just play. Now, when Third Ed came out, people kind of liked it. In the area where I'm from, they were very much still playing first edition AD&D. They weren't even into second edition AD&D. And they gave you shit if you did play it, because that needs to be said. We've always had edition wars. Always had it. And you should you can judge an edition's amount of fans by how many of them scream at you for not playing it. The fact that we have guys like Shadzar around telling us about TSR, AD&D, and the days of the 1990, 1991, when Lorraine wasn't letting people play test stuff, and Buck Rogers is getting a lot of outgoing mail at TSR. You know something's up, and if you read the history of TSR, you see why. Okay, I'm taking the wig off. But we are weird creatures of habit, and I think it needs to be talked about. There was a DVD or CD-ROM that came out from these people. Shadzar, are they holding back some of your commentary? Do I need to open up a separate browser on my phone so I can improve stuff? Jesus H. Hold on. So Hackmaster was written by Kinzer and Company. And they wrote it because there was this... It was written by Kinzer and Company. My bad. Okay. Yep, Apollo, you've been really busy and you've gotten huge. Congratulations on your growth. Anyway. Subscribe to Apollo Patriot, by the way. He's a really good gamer. If you like the outfits, collecting outfits, he can show you how to collect outfits for various games. So, Kinzer and Company had been doing this Dragon Magazine comic for a while, and when TSR put all of their Dragon magazines on the CD-ROM, how do we scratch these guys' backs? And so it fell into their hands that they were able to make their own version of the game. And so they wrote Hackmaster. Hackmaster was great because at the time when Third Ed was coming out and you had all these shiny, neat tables and clear, precise text, you had another book for Hackmaster 4E that when you read it, you could swear there was somebody at Muncie, Indiana, screaming at an overworked secretary, trying to properly dictate the entire book together. Apollo, I want you to get big subs. I want you to get big hours. I want you to make big checks. You're a good fucking gamer. You're a good guy. So I just think that's honest. Hackmaster was born out of the mistake that TSR had, that WotC had, when they were printing this wonderful Dragon magazine. Oh, I thought you could do it on Call of Duty too. But okay, you make outfits on Ghost Recon. My bad. Okay. So you have Hackmaster, and all of a sudden people are looking at this, and they wrote a game with the D&D rules in it. And not long after that, we started hearing people from other places saying, I want to write a basic rewrite. I want to do a rewrite for this edition. I want to do a rewrite for that edition. But every one of these that came out, they always tried to stay in a compatible mindset with their rules. So you can sit back and you can grab your old Emrakul the Chaotic ripoff wizard for when your DM pops on you the Axe of Dwarvish Lords, because you want to have your adventures with your old characters, maybe in this shiny new rule set. Okay, you have to kit bash your character to be fitting into this new system, but it's mostly compatible. And to be honest, most of all the TSR editions are compatible with each other. Shadzar's like, Bruce, you're about to go full Star Wars. OSR. Began the Clone Wars have. But people want to reignite those old feelings they had when they were 12 or 10. And they had a magenta box set in their hands for the first time. And I'll put it out there. Say Shadow from Shadow and Sons says, "Hey Bruce, listen, I know you've got an extra 8 hours. I want you to run me and my son through the rewrite of the Isle of Dread. I need you to do that. We don't have much time left. We don't know how much time we've got left. Let's start playing it." So you have all these versions that came out, and I've been putting adventures out in front of you on a camera because I want you guys to see the classics that are there and the rewrites that are done for these modules by Goodman Games before a certain one where they went completely woke and batshit crazy, because that's what woke is. Believing that your pronouns matter. They don't. Hot take. But you want to run something that has the flavor from the old days, ye old days. Okay, well, if you don't want to run Isle of Dread for us, how about B2? The Keep on the Borderlands, because that's what this one is a rewrite of Keep on the Borderlands. And that's a really good module. But we all want to do this. And actually, when you've got a kid around 12, 15 years old, if he's able to listen to you without rolling his eyes into the back of his brainstem, if he's able to have a conversation with you, and you've got children, he or she, you want to bring them into your hobby, and you want to show them this. They've probably already been nibbling at it, but you want to give them a good game. So you should crack open your old books you already have. You don't need to get rid of your books. You don't need to, just because the new edition's coming out, you don't need to get rid of anything. You really don't. Unless you're trying to downsize because you have to go to a smaller home or apartment. I feel sorry for you. We're all about to see what life is like when weak men make bad times. Okay? We're living that meme right now. But I'm going to tell you that you should have an opportunity to play these games with younger family members. And there's nothing wrong in grabbing the old books from your collection and running through a classic. In fact, I want all of you to be able to have that opportunity. Some of you won't. And for others that don't have that opportunity because they don't have the books, there is the OSR. There is the old school Renaissance or old school rekindled or whatever you want to say that acronym stands for. And I don't care what version or what interpretation you have. What it means is we took the old editions of the game, which have been off the shelves in retail for over 2 or 3 decades, and we republished it with new artwork or the same crappy artwork that we can find in numerous free spots on the web, just giving credit to the main authors or artists that did the art. And a lot of people will go to the OSR and buy those versions of the game. A lot of them are well written. And a lot of them are very well done. There are some that are overtly expensive, like the OSC. So there's a version of it for $450. Okay. But I recommend you go to the OSR for the fact that you're going to find a version of the game that you want to play. Or better yet, what I actually recommend is not buying a game if you have the capacity to make your own. Apollo's like, they censored Ada Wong in Resident Evil 4 Remake. I can't wait for the PC's spicy mods. Ada Wong. Green Apple's like, I will not pay full price for a game modders have to fix. The PC's king because we can undo censorship mods in general. Yeah. Shad's always going to go with the out-of-print stuff for the most parts. A lot of AD&D books are cheaper than most new books on eBay and drive-thru. Yeah, they are. And you can find PDFs of everything on the web if you're actually going to go look for that. So, oh God, no, Shadzar, don't, no, no. So, the main thing is we all keep going back to what the OSR can give us. What can the OSR give us? And there's a lot of good versions of the game out there. We've got Swords and Wizardry, Osric, OSE, Delving Deeper. We have all these varieties of games that can help you find a simpler game than what 3E or 5E is. No matter what you want, it's out there in the OSR pile. And I call it the pile because most of those books are well done, but at some point, somebody's going to be disappointed because there's going to be one or two that rise above and the other's going to be off to the side. I want you guys to understand that I don't care what you play, but I want you to play. And when I say that, I mean I want your players to be entertained. I want your friends to have something that they didn't have a chance to be with before. I want you as a GM to be able to hear the anticipation. I want you to have those moments of stress at the table. Legion of Myth says, for the old school feel with a modern game style, Forbidden Lands. Yeah, I've read through that. I really like it. Me neither, Shadow and Sun. I can't wait for Saturday either. I think you guys got a new caster in the party. I wanna say that there's reasons to pick up the old print versions of the AD&D books too. Not for the good editing work of second edition, not for the horrible art of the first ed DMG. Hey, Sporking News, how you doing, sir? Haven't seen you in here before, but man, I welcome you. Grab a comfy chair. The OSR is a place where you guys that had wonderful memories as middle schoolers and high schoolers, maybe if you're in your 40s like me, maybe you really enjoyed the game you ran in your 20s. But Trampier did great art. I liked his pen work the best. Was not a big fan of Trampy the Dragon, but that was an acquired taste. I did develop that later. It wasn't something I initially thought, I love this. You have a lot of people out there that are telling you that you can just go to a pawn shop, or you can go on eBay. You can find the old AD&D first edition. You can go find the old rules cyclopedia with a few pages missing. Then you have people that I know that say you can go on the high seas and find it for free. The people that wrote those books might not even be here anymore. And so I'm not going to say that they're going to earn money off you getting it out of a pawn shop. But I want you to at least look at the original books, especially the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, because of all the wisdom that Gary was able to put into it so early in the hobby. He wrote that so well. Gary, I got to send a toast to Gary because and I'm not drinking anything but Tang here. So anyway, I'm always impressed by Gygax because what he did do with first edition, the birth of the hobby, basically for first edition AD&D, was just amazing. It was lightning in a bottle. It would never happen again. Okay, so you have these books and you look at these, whether you use them or not, or you go to a more modern version from the OSR. I think you need to pick these up and at least look at which ones you might want to run, because maybe you do want to use the old TSR versions. Nobody's going to be upset if you decide to go with the old traditions. I think you should. I would also like you to find a game that you don't have to mod all to hell if you aren't going to rewrite it yourself. If every DM I know, every dungeon master I've ever met has a book with their own rule rewrites. Every single one of them. Either it's a file, either it is a hey Felix, how you doing? Either it's a file or either it's just a sheet of paper with just some shorthand on it, or maybe somebody actually has a college ruled spiral notebook with all the rule rewrites they did because they thought Dave and Gary were just fucked up in the head. Start with the basics. Start with just something that doesn't need all of your attention. It doesn't require you to have 300 pages memorized. I always go back to the old rules cyclopedia or old basic magenta box set, and I go from there. That's where OSE comes into play. That's a really well edited 1st through 14th edition of the game. 1st through 14th means 14th level. Most people don't play to 14th level. It's a really high level for the game, but most people don't go there. Most people stop at 8th or 9th. They get tired of these characters, or they just they peter out. What you do with that is you figure out how you want to play. Does your group that you have, can they last 8 sessions? Can they last for 8 months? Will that group be together in 2 years? If they are, that's great. Nobody ever plans death at the table. Nobody ever plans to have your DM or one of your MVPs get killed in a car wreck. And I've been through both of those before. But I'm just going to tell you that this is a game that you do with friends. You really don't decide to sit down at a random table at a game store. And you don't start doing things like hanging out with strangers. The people you sit down with, they usually have some sort of connection to them. And most of my friends agree that you do this with friends. Shadzar says that's one of the great bewilderments of the OSR. It's played to lower levels as a modern player would, not keeping to the higher levels like actual old school. Actually, I don't know many old school players that lived above 10th level. Not that they didn't want to play above it, but their DMs would kill them off. The old school gaming was a lot more deadly, a lot more lethal. But we go to these old school games because we want to try to have the same type of friendships probably that we had when we were in middle school or high school. Soybase Jeremy says, about to get my health together and probably keep that together. That'd be good. Essentially born again. I'm doing okay, brother. Just trying to keep my head up. Is that the one you wanted me to read there, Soybase Jeremy? A lot of us want to at least feel like we did when we were younger. Okay, Felix, that's good. I'm glad to see you got your head in the direction it needs to be, focused on you. A lot of us play the OSR games because when we were given these games or when we started to play them, we had people in our lives, and we hadn't had our minds expanded yet by the birthing world experience of getting out of high school and realizing, God, being 18 sucks. I'm an adult now. Can I go back to being a kid? So most of us want to feel like we did when we were 12. That's why a lot of people that I know watch the first season of Stranger Things with such a big smile on their faces because they remember the 80s. And that show did a lot of respectful retro member berries throughout the entire season of season 1. I watched that season twice. It was really good. But there's also the thing where when we were younger, we didn't have bills and wife, kid responsibilities. So you could play to like 14th or 16th level. You could actually do that. You actually could make time throughout the whole school year. On Friday nights, we sit down with, 3 cheese pizzas and we try to get through this module that our mathematician friend, who has a Montessori school in his future, and he's designing dungeons for us to get killed in. When I'm playing an RPG around it, the Legion of Myth says, when I'm playing an RPG around a table, I want to play the adventures, not the people sending out the adventures, even if I'm level 20. Domain play is play by mail. Fair enough. Felix, just focus on your portion sizes and do your body weight exercises to get your basics and your foundation down first. Then after that, you need to hit up the memes of destruction and help him out with his Saitama workouts. I'm thinking that will help you. You have. I'll tell you whenever I play these games, I'm looking for the group that I had. Not really those players I had, but the feeling I had running a group when I was in my 17th and 18th year. And we were sitting there for a whole weekend. And it was damn near every weekend because our girlfriend would hang out with us. I had a girlfriend, Rich had a girlfriend, and we had girlfriends, and nerds had girlfriends. I know that's weird, but we had about 6 people sitting around the table, including Pixie, the mother of Danny, in Niantic, and we were playing through this. And this was just this fantastic adventure module. And I had not had the module. I had to basically take my notes from the Commodore 64 version of the game and run the players through it. And some of them had played through it already, so we were just kind of like masturbating in a group format because we already beat the game on computer, but now I'm running it on the table with grids and miniatures. And these people had miniatures for days, as much or more than what I have now. So you have this love affair we have with feeling like we did when we were younger. And maybe that's what these games provide us. They provide us with this tasty member berry. And for 4 hours or 8 hours, you get to go through these wild escapades, all possible by the proper numbers being rolled on a die and being able to articulate to your dungeon master or game master what you wanted to do, what the intent is. It's kind of important. And as we get older, we don't need to lose that feeling. We don't. I think I'm not going to really have a strong opinion at Calvin on. He's like, how the heck do nerds get girlfriends? We do things like we know how to build things with wood. Somebody says, that's really cool. I would really like to have a shelf for my records. And you end up building her a shelf. And then you get that pregnancy scare. Like, my mom and dad were almost grandparents. Woo. Thank God I surfed out of that one. This is a really good file. If you ever see this on the internet, you can download this for free. And it's an actual game. You play up to 5th level. You're going to play for about a month if you do every weekend for 6 or 8 hours. Here's the book my players never want me to play with. Grimtooth's Ultimate Traps Collection. This wonky book has, hold on, 459 pages of traps and secrets. Ugh. I want you guys to be able to play. I know that sounds stupid, but that's basically my only real desire. I can't game master for all of you. I won't ever be able to as much as I want to. The Forgotten Shadzard's showing you the link for that Ruins of Adventure. Starts in the town of Falan. It was in the game Pool of Radiance. An amazing game for back then. But say you don't like TSR because WotC owns it now. And Legion of Myth is right. You vote with your wallet. You don't vote with prayers or positive thoughts. You want to show somebody you care for them, you give them resources. So I would recommend that if you don't have a pawn shop with quality books in it, go with the OSR. You want to be able to play these games for a long time. So I also recommend you have a spiral bound notebook. As far as the OSR is concerned, for OSE, I think that's probably the best version of the Rule Cyclopedia up to 14th level. Most games won't last beyond 14th. There might be some. You guys can impress me. And if you want to impress me, please do. Please run long form games. Good Lord. There's 20th level in the second edition onward. After that, in the TSR and WotC Gameology, they go up to 20th level for the most part. Hit it. Go beyond it. If you don't have rules for it, make them up. Everybody at the table will agree on it and play. But you need to sit down. You need to have that moment with your friends where, like, we're going to play a game. You need that contract between the majority of you. And that one person that says something like, I don't want to play this game. I've played it before. Okay. Listen, we're going to play this game over here with these rules, and we're going to do the things that we're going to do. And I want you guys to be able to play with your friends. You're not going to have eternity with these guys. You might have 5 years with that table. I doubt it. Not many tables last 2 years. Not many modern tables can last 6 sessions. I keep laughing about that fact. Yeah, Cal's trolling. It's okay to be that way. Shadzar does Shadzar. Cal does Cal. Everybody shows their variety of love. Shadzar will get upset because I say something. Okay. He's upset. And if I win the lottery, you guys are going to see me take off to South Carolina for a minute while I get him straightened out. So I'm not going to hear him complaining about the situation anymore. Shadzar's like, speaking of miniatures, I found 3,000 more today that I forgot I owned. Dude, I'm not saying you should put those on eBay. Okay. So you don't want to play OSE. That's the best version of Basic and Rule Cyclopedia that is being printed right now. And the people that make that game, they might be modern left, but they're still not absolutely batshit crazy insane like the people at 5e Wizards of the Coast. I want you guys to be able to play something like that. It's a good game. If you can find a good intact Rule Cyclopedia, you can have that too. The Rule Cyclopedia is probably my favorite version of D&D. Not going to run it anymore. I like the skills of 3rd edition and Pathfinder. And I can't wait to run my own version of the game. Shadzar is going to be setting up a booth, and I would recommend Shadzar to put the pictures in Discord so people can see. What are we looking for when we play these games? Are we looking for a challenge? Are we looking for a mathematical obstacle course to where we have to roll high, roll low, roll in the middle? Soy-based Jeremy says, to be honest, I don't see woke politics and how things are done staying. Things are slowly going to go back. Well, I don't see them sticking around, but I see there's a lot of resistance to the current mindset being advertised on major media networks, major corporations. The elites are in control. Okay, that's why you see such a huge push back against them. That's why you see the media is out of touch with the common man. We're at a period leading up to unrest. We're not a third world country nation yet, but we could get there fairly easy. $8 gallon diesel, $10 gallon diesel, and when your milk's up at $6 a gallon, I'm pretty certain there's going to be worse situations. Shadzar says he's got HeroClix figures, some special order, some special editions. Calvin Ani says Mage Knight minis work great too. I have a couple hundred. Mage Knight's an amazing game. We played the hell out of it. Max from Legion of Myth says, I'm looking to be a character on adventures where dice and randomness determines the outcomes with modifiers based on good planning and luck. I would hope that's the majority of answers for all of you that are playing these games. Because when we all sit down, being on either the players or being the dungeon master, as much as they want to say it's an antagonistic game, the DMs trying to kill the players off, not really. Most dungeon masters don't want to sit for 7 hours while you put your role master character together. God damn it. Another total party wipe. Ugh. What happened, Bruce? Oh, we got some sick criticals and I vaporized 2 characters with a fireball. Wow. That Rollmaster game is quite deadly. 7 hours later. All right, guys, you take your first steps in the dungeon. Who has perception? Anyway, don't do that. Don't run a game like that either. Cal says 1 local station's at $9.60 a gallon. Shadow and Sun says, trust me, we are slowly winning the culture war, and if that fails, we always have the 3rd box in reserve. Pretty certain I understand what you're saying there. I really do need to go burn these off, though, because they're kind of old. You can tell. Okay. The pushback that you're seeing, Jeremy, is the fact that a lot of people in media were wanting Depp to be found guilty, to have to pay Amber Heard millions more than what he had. But because Amber Heard has to pay $2 million out of $10 million, or has to pay $10 million, and she'll get back $2 million on a rebate once Depp gets done paying her. It's crazy. Travis, I'm not even going to talk. Okay, I'm going to talk real quick. We got 2 minutes. I'm going to discuss this. We are in the Team America timeline right now. You're like, oh God, no, not Team America. Oh yeah, Team America. But instead of Alec Baldwin doing the thing for Kim Jong-il in the movie Team America World Police, now America has Matthew McConaughey out there saying, we need more gun wars. We need more gun wars. Look at these shoes. Look at these shoes. Ooh. That's how I feel it's going on. I really do. Like, I liked Matthew McConaughey before his 30 seconds of idiocy on the news today, but I'm swearing to dear Lord, I don't care. They can have 40 school shootings. I'm still going to keep my guns and adhere to the Second Amendment and the First Amendment. If they ask me how many kids do we have to kill in order to get our way, I'm going to say, we'll make more. Trust me. Americans fuck like crazy. Oh, there's a holiday coming up? Let me guess. The 4th of July is going to be the night where a bunch of kids are made. Why is everyone so fucking stupid? Yes, Legion of Myth. So, that's my statement on the McConaughey-Uvalde bullshit. I don't care about Uvalde. Uvalde got in the way of me listening into what's going on in Davos, because the Davos was getting pretty popular on Tuesday. And the thing is that Tuesday was when the school shooter sat in a room and they waited for between 45 minutes and 75 minutes, depending on which school or news outlet you listen to. But 19 kids and 2 adults died. Sorry about that, but we're not going to take away Americans' guns. Just saying. Yeah, more people die from inserting things anally each year than school shootings. We need to get rid of the death plugs, okay? So, now that I've said that, and that was my two and a half minutes of me talking about Uvalde, and I don't care. Back on my topic here. Matt Damon. Yes, Darren P. It's just funny that he showed the shoes. They were not the kids' shoes, says Travis J. 1975. Her shoes were a different color. Complete lies. Yeah, that's always what it is. They hold up props, dude. The media holds up props to distract you and try to take away the truth from you and make you think what they're saying is real. I don't even watch the news anymore except for funsies. When I've got too many liters of tequila, I just watch the news, and every time I catch a lie, I drink. It's all fucking theater, says Darren P. Absolutely. Legion of Myth. I'm so ornery, and reap me a roan. Okay. All right. So, yeah, fireworks are soon. So we play these games. We play these games because we want to play with friends. We don't want to sit and collect them. As much as we all want to be, no, we don't all want to be Aaron the Pedantic. I like you, Aaron the Pedantic, and I like Dolly Pop, but I don't want to be you. I don't want to collect games I'm never going to have time to play. I want to have more spiral-bound notebooks of adventures and miniatures and ideas I have for a game and play off those than actual hardcover books from somebody else. Shadow and Sun. Even if all the guns magically disappeared, we would still know how to commit evil acts from what we can be finding in the local grocery store. Toy-based Jeremy says something very truthful. Like I said, gun control as in mental health examinations rather than taking away guns. No, this wasn't even a gun control issue. This was all mental health. And the people that actually are wanting to do this have declared that they don't like you, with them stating that they want to take your guns. That goes from the top down. And the top is not Joe Biden. Everybody in this chat probably knows that. As much as the media wants to make you think Joe Biden's the top, he's not. He was installed like malware. He's malware on a nationwide basis. So when we have these games available, we don't want to be thinking of the real world. We're playing them for escapism. Nobody wants to be J. Scott Garibay either. Everybody I know wants to play because they've got bills and they've got a house and they've paid for those bills. They've paid for the house for the month. And this is how we blow off steam. This is how we blow off steam. We play these games. It doesn't matter if you're playing 3rd edition, Earth Dawn. It doesn't matter if you're in Tolus, if you're in Lankmar. But we are here to play these games because these games mean a lot to us. And some of you want to play the games, rules as written, 1st or 2nd edition TSR. That's good. Some of you want to play 1st or 2nd edition WotC. Some of you guys want to play 3rd edition WotC, which is 5th edition. Felix, I know. We've had discussions a lot before, my friend. And I understood that you and I were not on the same side of the fence, but we had the same garage we seem to be parking in. I understand. I want you guys to be able to pick up whatever game you want. I want you guys to be able to have time with your friends to be able to blow off steam. We're possibly going into a period of time on a nationwide basis where this might have to go away for a bit. I don't know. I would much rather have nights where I come home and bitch about politics, painting figures, than actually being battle tested and trained in my 40s. But I'm surely not going to surrender the things that make me safe. So, as far as it's concerned, Biggus Geekus is in the chat. Thank you for being here tonight. I want you all to be able to have this wonderful experience. They have. I'm going to talk about Biggus Geekus for a second. You got these two guys that are kind of crazy. They're up north. They're almost in Canadistan. It used to be Canada, but now it's Canadistan because there's a guy up there that says they're going to stop selling firearms. I'm thinking that's not going to work well. Anyway, but they're up in like the land of winter that lasts for more than 4 months, like Minnesota, Michigan area. And they're a really good channel. They talk about this hobby, the various games, with a lot of respect. And they try to get people together for a thing called Cabin Con, where they all get together in a cabin. It's a few rooms, tables, enough space. And they have multiple games going on. It's a miniature convention. Enough food for the guys to eat. It's mainly a sausage fest. But it sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to be up there for that one of these days. And they run a really good podcast. Their show is more podcast than anything else, but it's growing on YouTube, and I'm really happy to see that. Hey, Travis, we'll talk to you soon, bud. But the reason those guys get together is because our world is filled with opportunities for us. In a first world society, we still have the opportunity to be able to relax and play games. And that's what the majority of us are here for. We want to hang out with our friends and have imaginary adventures and push miniatures around on a battle mat, or maybe just admire them and roll dice and have theater of the mind. I prefer the battle mats, or I prefer the skirmish war game terrain. I want to be able to play with you guys as friends. I think that'd be fan-fucking-tastic. We play these games because they provide us with a sense of belonging that sometimes our jobs just don't give us. Sometimes we just don't get complete satisfaction in our daily life when we're fighting traffic for 40 minutes because there's a rollover up ahead and it's gridlock for 6 miles. The guy on the radio or whoever you listen to on your CD player, they're not giving you what you need as much as you wish they would. So something that involves this hobby, something that involves these games, keeps bringing us back. And we found our tribe. We found a lot of people through other groups like Biggus Geekus, Legion of Myth, maybe myself. Maybe you went to a friendly local game store and you just saw that I had a flyer up there. That was my first group in San Antonio, a group I literally looked into, and I held that one together for about 9 months until they all had 3 TPKs, and half of them said we're leaving, and the other half said we're moving. That happens. But you have these opportunities with these games, and a lot of the OSR games provide less structure and more opportunities for the game master to provide rulings than rules. You don't have to look up a rule. You just say as a dungeon master, I need a 16 or better on a D20. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people play a game like 5th edition, which has tomes of rules, Or they have third edition, which has lots of books, lots of ways for you to try to screw over your players in lawfare at the table. But a lot of DMs don't need to do that. They just need to look at the situation and figure out what skill or what do I need you to do. Roll your ability score. Here's your target number. If you fail, you fail. If you pass, let's go. And that's the joy about these games. They provide you with an opportunity to think or to make you think that you're doing something very enjoyable. Even though the best games I've ever played are a slog, they're riddled with insane, intense peaks of struggle, sometimes failure, sometimes death. You have those. And you have those games that provide you this. It's just, that's what keeps bringing me back to the table. Saturday, I'll be running my game again, and the players are focused against giants right now. And they're hacking away some underground passages. They've probably put 7 ogres into the dead book in the past 2 sessions, and a lot more troll varieties than what they thought. I'm into the combat of it. Yes, I am a min-maxer DM. I don't want to be, but I feel very comfortable with the Pathfinder or 3.x system. That's why I'm rewriting it. That doesn't mean you have to do the same thing I do to enjoy the game. You already have the game you like, or you already know what type of game you want to play. And when you sit down, you make an agreement with your players. I need to do this way. And a lot of people will argue and, well, why do you want to do it like this? Here's how the rules say. Because I don't like that rule. And once you and your table figure that out, hey, Tim Christ, once you and your table figure out how you're going to have the rulings set up, there's really not much more negotiation. It's just on with the story, on with the scenario. Soy-based Jeremy, if I could split off in my 30s and play RuneScape from like start to finish for it, I would have played that. That is such a good looking game now. They've added so much to it. Sour cream and onion chips, bologna sandwiches, the food of the gods. Yeah, Shadzar, I get some extra cheddar available. I'll throw some more fish sandwiches at your dad. I wanted to provide this video as a question as to why do we go to the OSR? Why do we go back to the old style games? And the reason that I keep going back to my style of gaming is that I'm comfy there. I'm as comfortable there as your wife or girlfriend in an oversized hooded sweatshirt in the kitchen at 7 a.m. making waffles for breakfast for you and maybe your kids. I'm so comfortable playing 3rd edition or Pathfinder. I can get into that game and I can wrap myself in how Monty thought when he wrote the 3rd ed, and I can understand why Jeremy and Jason and all those guys in Redmond, Washington wrote Pathfinder how they did, because I'm comfortable in that mindset. I can figure it out. Soy-based Jeremy says, bologna is gross. You know what? It's still better here than overseas. That's all I'm going to say. And if you find yourself eating bacon in England, I'm sorry. Please come to America. Some people here in this chat want to play rules as written magenta box. That only goes up to 3rd level. But they have rules for how to go up to 14th or 20th or 24th or 33rd or 36th. And other friends of ours, they've done the work, and they've got the rules, they've got the spreadsheets, they know how to optimize characters, and for them, that's all the game they want. They want to put that optimized character through its paces and see what exactly it can do. Because at a certain point, in theory, the challenge rating system breaks down versus player characters with a certain level. Bruce, eat balut. No, I'm good. I had pig's feet a couple times. I'm good. Got to head to bed. Have a good night, Bruce Lombardo, Dick's Division and chat. Good night, Max. Get some rest. I'm going to continue on here for about another 5 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. Actually, I'm going to start wrapping up now. This video was just for me to explore as to what it is about the OSR that I love so much. And when I say the OSR, I really just mean games. I mean games, because I can pick up something from Rollmaster, I can pick up Middle Earth Supplement, I can pick up something from 2nd edition D&D Planescape. I can pick up any adventure or supplement out there. And immediately, once I start looking at what I want to pilfer from that, my dad loved that, and he served in the Marine Corps 80 to 88. That's badass. Luke's the Bear in Jungle Book. My bad. Luke's crazy. I can look at any supplement and how can I put this? How can I integrate it? Can I pilfer anything and steal it into my game? And not steal it, but strategically transport it to an alternate, or strategically transport equipment to alternate location. And that's how I look at it, because there's a lot of supplements out there that I will use impartial. Maybe 2 sentences here, maybe a stat block there, maybe a feat from over here or a spell. And I can figure out 3rd edition pretty well. I know what I want to keep in it. I don't ever use the occult character guide. I don't like the advanced race guide. I'm not into that. I can use it. My game doesn't need to be that level of optimization, because when I start doing that, I won't have any players at my table. There will be, well, we were playing in Bruce's game for 2.5 hours. We had our first encounter, and it was a TPK. I don't want to do that, and therefore I'm striking that from all of it. Jedi Bill 797, how are you doing, sir? I want to be able to run a game to where my players are comfortable. That's why I always run a game basically for the core rulebook. There's some people that can't stand that. Oh, I hate the core rulebook. You only get 11 classes. Listen, just get a class, run it for a little bit. You'll find something else. But I can figure out as we game how I want the game to go, or how I want my players to interact with the non-player characters in the world. And I want them to be able to have fun. Because more importantly, playing at the table right now is great, don't get me wrong. But getting my players to come back again and again and again and again, that's what I want. Yes, Biggus Geekus. Bacon. I mean, now you get it. TPKs aren't fun as a game master. No, they're not. Unless you're running at a convention and you're in the 3rd hour and that 3.5 hour mark, and it's time to kill the players. That's the only time a TPK is fun. There's no other time where a TPK is really fun. I'm going to get some of these characters painted up tonight. I'll be listening to you guys broadcast on your various channels. If I don't see any live streams I want to listen to, I might open up something in Discord. For some odd reason, I have 16 viewers right now, and I want to thank each and every one of you. Literally, I want to give you each a beer or shake your hand or give you a hug. Whatever it is that you take as a token of my appreciation. Ominel, thank you. Ominel says, I do think DCC gives a benefit of nostalgic danger and enough characters. Yeah, it does. It gives you 4 characters at the start, and you go into the funnel, and then once the characters graduate through the funnel through either death or success, and it's a binary situation. You either live or you die. Once they get their class, because when you go in the funnel, you're not classed. Thirst in Hell. Okay, Thirst in Hell. What the tweaks I use for Pathfinder, I basically just start with the core rulebook, and I start there. I force people to start with the core rulebook. Second off, your Constitution. Your Constitution is also your hit points. Not, you don't take ability damage Constitution, but if you have 17 Constitution, you have 17 hit points before you get your first level. Bruce has the most viewers ever. Ending the stream. Got to keep wanting more. I'm just going to say that would be. Oh, Jedi says I'm great when seeing Maverick Top Gun today. It's amazing, dude. I'll be seeing it sometime, probably Sunday, with the wife. I'm looking forward to it. Shh, she doesn't know she's in the next room. Shadzar says the TPKs of all the players. For some odd reason, I've hit the algorithm somehow. And I've blown up over the past weekend over 150 subscribers in like 4 days. You could check it on Social Blade or something. Thurston Howell, yeah, cool, hardy characters. I need my players to live. Now, one of the things I'll be tweaking for my own game is that if you have a +1 magic weapon, it does an extra plus 1d6 of die damage from magic. Magic does a die 6. If it's a +1 sword, it's +1 to hit and plus die 6 to damage. If it's a +3 sword, it gets a +3 to hit and +3d6 magic damage. So you can see as you get higher up and higher up level, the weapons outpace your abilities to stay standing, because at some point you get really, really rough. It gets really difficult. That's something I like about that, Thurston Howell. Hey, Biggus Geekus. I think we play these games, OSR 5th edition or 3rd edition, whatever it may be, because whenever we tried to play something that might not suit us, and for some of us, I would say the majority of us would probably say that 5th edition gets the games in the seats. No, you haven't been doing things wrong, Shadow and Sun. I'll have Garrett go over it with you. He tweaked me tonight. Garrett tweaked some things on my settings, and you've been doing really good. You're up to 300 subscribers in less than a year. That's fantastic. You have these games where we have a game master at the table, and all they want to do, they just don't really want to tell a story, but they want to have a semi-competition with their friends. And so you get your heroes together and you get your non-player characters together. Maybe it's just a dungeon. We're doing a dungeon hack. But you want the achievement. You want that sense of accomplishment that the players succeeded if they did things right. Biggus Geekus, I'm gonna have Garrett talk to you. I think Garrett needs to talk to you and Shadow and Sun, and anybody else that wants to grow their channel. And I think that sense of accomplishment, we want that. That's almost a drug for us, because an adventure used to take us like I'll bring back a classic module. This right here took us 3 months every weekend for 12 to 16 hours a weekend. This is the original Pool of Radiance, okay? This is the book that we got to play. And I'm going to say we played the book. We didn't play the book. I threw a lot of random encounters in, and I tried to read as much as I could about the Moonsea area, and then I realized, oh, that's the wrong area, and I just read about Flan. And from Flan to the Dragonspine Mountains. And it took us 3 months. Yeah, Kings of War is 38 millimeter. I think it's 28 millimeter, because Kings of War is the same scale as these goblins here. And these are mantic figures. So we are addicted to that accomplishment, though. And it took us 3 months. And the players finally, after like 7 dead characters for the Ruins of Flan, they actually beat that module. And the thrill of getting through a mini campaign like that, I don't think there's a whole lot that compares to it, except for maybe getting your nut when you're in your teen years. You get the chance to have that, and that camaraderie, that friendship, everybody high-fiving each other. And the fact that you as a DM, you didn't kill him off, and you're not really supposed to kill your players off. That's an option if they're horrible. If your players make bad decisions, it's really bad. Like, they don't deserve to die. They deserve to have limited amounts of success and lots of options of different failure. Hi, Cat 5 Gaming. And I think a lot of us go back to the OSR or the old first and second edition AD&D and Thunder Rift modules. We go back to those because they provide us with the remembrances of actually having, back in the 90s and 80s, we had a lot of people with us that aren't here now. They've gone, they've passed on. And so we want to remember what it was like to be a teenager. Your grandparents were alive, and everything will be fine in 6 hours because you're done with your D&D game and you go back to your mom and dad's house, or you go back upstairs, because I played in the basement. I lived in Illinois. We had a basement. Baddest basement ever. So, yeah, I see that 11 p.m. is my best stream time. Okay. But you have the option for these games, and a lot of us want to feel like we did whenever we had happier times. A lot of us, as we get older, we lose our families, we lose the people we love. And so there's a lot of that. And it's the same thing, not just with the tabletop role-playing games, but for like people like Tommy the Guinea Pig Collective. He does retro toys from the 80s also, like G.I. Joe, the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, Transformers especially, the Rambo toys. He talks about a lot of it. He talks about the old Diacron models that I had, which was like the first generation Transformers before Transformers was a thing. Because J.C. Penney sold it, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. I want it. My dad's like, is that all you want? Like, yeah, if that's all I get, that's what I'd love. So my dad got me that and a bunch of Legos. Well, shit. I don't think I ever left my bedroom. When my parents wanted to punish me, they made me go in there in the living room and watch TV with them. That was boring as hell. So we want to get those feelings back we had when we were younger. And if you're a young person in your teens or 20s listening to me now, just latch onto the fact that you probably have a life right now that you're never going to have again. And I'm not trying to depress anybody, but you play these games with people you love. You play these games that you really enjoy, and you understand that today is temporary. What's going on right now, it might not happen again. And I'm not talking about the horrible state of our nation that I keep complaining about as I watch my stocks tank, as I watch my silver start to get a little bit ahead. But I'm telling you that you need to just recognize what you're going through might not be the same in a month. So if you have a good time today, and it's somebody else quoting Megan Bruce, thanks. If you've got the opportunity to give somebody like a high five, or if you've got the opportunity to give them a word of encouragement, you do that. I don't need you guys to be depressed leaving the stream. I want you guys to remember these good times. I want you guys to have the opportunity to plan for a game in the future. And Thurston Howell, I'll go over. I'll send you. If somebody could get a hold of Thurston Howell from the Legion of Myth Discord, just go ahead and drop my Discord into chat. That way he can jump in there and he can look at the Terran Keld information. I think there's some pinned messages there that I left. And if not, I'll give him my changes I have for my game for Pathfinder. But Omanal hits it. The shared experience is what makes a game so memorable. A single-player computer role-playing game or a game on the Genesis is fine. What really is cool, though, is you and your buddies playing through G1 through G7 or Q7, and you actually survive and you triumph over the Queen of Spiders. That's what's cool. Because you're going to have numerous times over what time you have left where you're like, I had a chance to play with you one of the funnest campaigns, and we had a blast, man. That was so fucking cool. Remember that time that you and I got caught in a fireball and we almost died, and our friend Terry had to cast Cure on us, and we only had a few rounds before the giants got a hold of us, and we still got captured, and we still made it out, and we lived because your cohorts rescued us. Cat 5 says, I just want to enjoy whatever I can while I can and learn whatever interests me. That's a pretty interesting mindset. But that also explains why you want to play the Beguiler so fast, so much. For me, these games aren't everything. I mean, right now they're a great usage of my time. This is how I don't have a felony record. Okay, I paint miniatures. I talk to you guys. I listen to you guys as much as I can. And I want to do more of this. I want to do more gaming. I want you guys to enjoy yourselves as well. And there's got to be something we can do with this hobby that makes us happy. Painting miniatures, although I have a large portion of them that's unpainted or not properly painted. That's the TV stand of varnishing. Once I do 6 months for 2022, I'm going to be varnishing 200 figures on the stream. Omi now is hitting the nails as I asked. Thank you, sir. Escapism allows us to decompress from reality about something that's not critical about life. Exactly. We're not really addicts to this, but this is something that gives us a little bit of joy. We have the ability to be able to share this with our friends, and not many other hobbies offer that. They really don't. Cat, Saturday, you'll hate me. Yeah, 30,000 is a big, McLarge, huge collection. Shadzar had a lot of figs. And I'd love it if he was able to churn those so he could get some revenue going on. Yeah, Calvin Arnie, I'll be so high on varnish. Okay. Time to end this stream. And I don't mean to be leaving. I'm going to be back here tomorrow night. I'll be in Connell's channel. The friendly face of Aragorn. Oh, wait. That's not Aragorn. Okay, guys. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be on Connell's channel. We're going to be talking about some things with gatekeepers. Really good topics, actually, are lined up for that. And we're trying to redo our gatekeepers and table breakers because we want to split those brands and have identifiable, like, I want you guys to be able to watch that and say, like, this is the same guys from this other stream. Yes, it is. But our goals for each of these brands are different. We're not trying to homogenize that. Like whenever I go on to Biggus Geekus or DM James's channel, whenever I go over to Legion of Myth, I'm not advertising what I do typically, but I am trying to voice an opinion or a momentary thought they have as a topic for that discussion. And I want to be respectful to that channel by and large. Thursday night, it'll be another session of Table Breakers. I'll be running, we'll get to that, who's running Table Breakers. I think me and Garrett will be doing a tag team on that. And then Friday, I'll be visible at the Chill Stream. I had like 18 people in this place, and that's the most I've ever had in chat before. So like I said, if I could give each of you a hug or handshake or a friendly beer, hey, thank you so much for showing up. Really, I appreciate this, and I'd like to do this again sometime, but I had to do a response video because the OSR, while I like the OSR, there's something weird about, like, we can go get the books. They're right over there at eBay, over at Drive-Thru RPG, we can print them off on Lulu. Why are we so in love with this? And it's a good topic to kind of find something about it you can sink your teeth into, and then you can tear off a chunk and discuss it. This is a flavor, this is a texture, this is why I like this variety of it. I want you guys to be able to have fun. We have this hobby. We need some fun. We need some way to decompress. So this is my way of doing it. James L, Darren P, Shadzar, Calvin Ani, Green Apple, Cat 5 Gaming, Biggus Geekus, Legion of Myth, and everybody else that showed up tonight. As a grateful and humble man, I appreciate you coming in here. and joining us. I like hearing you guys, and I hope to hear from you all soon. I'll see you tomorrow.